Do you want to stop climate change? Well, you can't. My name is Vincent Dole, and I'm going to inform you about human-caused climate change. Climate change cannot be stopped. For millions of years, the Earth has had warming and cooling trends, in which the ice caps melt and sea levels rise. All we can do as humans is help slow this warming trend down to its normality, because in recent history, we have sped up the normal rate significantly. The first problem we must overcome is the rising levels of greenhouse gas emissions. In the 1900s, after the Industrial Revolution, 75% of the time, greenhouse gas emissions were increasing. This is clearly seen in the 1 to 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit the global temperature rose on average since the dawn of the 20th century. CO2 levels, which is one of the largest contributors to our increased greenhouse gas emissions, have not been higher in the past 650,000 years. How are greenhouse gases released? They are released in everything we do. If you don't believe that global temperatures are rising due to humans, let me prove it to you. The layers of the atmosphere are a perfect example to show greenhouse gases are driving the temperature change. The troposphere, the lowest part of the atmosphere, which you can see here, is warming. And the stratosphere, a higher part of the atmosphere, just right above the troposphere, is cooling. If the sun was driving the temperature change, both the troposphere and stratosphere would be warming. This proves that our human-released CO2 emissions are causing the substantial warming of the Earth. The solution to this problem is the integration of more solar and wind. Solar has 100 times the rejuvenation potential as fossil fuels. Solar and wind not only decrease greenhouse gas emissions, they pay you back over time. Over 30 years, one residential solar system saves or is equivalent to planting 1,400 trees, avoiding the use of 80,000 gallons of water to create electricity, and keeps 16,000 tons of coal from ever being burned, says SolarCity, a large solar company. The second problem that we face is our polar ice cap melting and sea levels rising. The main cause of this is cars. In the last century, global sea levels have risen 6.7 inches. However, in the past decade, that number has nearly doubled. This is according to the World Glacier Monitoring Service. Since 1980, glaciers worldwide have lost 40 feet in average thickness. You can see a diagram here from 1979 to 2003 that it's almost half the size that it used to be. This is bad for two reasons. Sea levels rising, and it means that there are smaller ice caps. Smaller ice caps thus are reflecting less of the sun's energy away from the Earth, so more of it then is absorbed, which also leads to the warming of the Earth. The solution to this problem is the electric car. There are over 250 million cars in the United States alone, and hypothetically, if all those cars were changed overnight to electric, this would be the equivalent of saving 1.8 trillion pounds of coal from ever being burned. This is a 60% decrease in the greenhouse gas emissions in the United States just from the integration of solar cars or electric cars. The third problem, which I personally believe is the least understood contributor to the main causes of human-caused climate change, is the lack of knowledge. We have a lack of knowledge about our planet. I believe this is such a big problem because 1/3 of the United States' energy use comes from the average household. Everything we do on a daily basis contributes to the energy usage. For example, the phone you have in your pocket, every time you plug it into a wall, it's sucking out energy. It's sucking out energy to charge it. Maybe not a lot, but when you think of all the millions of phones there are in the world, you can only imagine it starts to add up. Or your TV. Many TV providers have started to integrate software that turns your TV off after 4 hours if it's not touched, to save energy. Your carpet and your clothes also use energy. They're used energy indirectly. They're used in how it's made. To put this into perspective, 4% of carbon emissions come from the industrial process. The industrial processes are manufacturing of clothes and household items such as carpet. 40% of carbon emissions come from the everyday consumer's decisions. To solve this problem, our world needs some teaching. People can gain knowledge about the Earth from school. I think to solve this problem, we need to integrate learning about the Earth at a young age, and this must be required in all schools. In conclusion, our world 1,000 years from now is what we decide it is today. Depending on if we increase the amount of solar we have, pushing the integration of electric cars, and simply informing ourselves on what is going on around us.